A night in the Skyview Suite promises pure perfection, yet the moment the guest steps inside, something feels beautifully wrong. Before we dive into today's topic, make sure to subscribe to the channel to stay updated with all our latest videos. Don't forget to like and comment your thoughts below. I love hearing from you. Adrian had traveled the world photographing beauty and places most people only dreamed of. He had seen deserts glittering in the sun, cities alive with restless energy, and mountains that held the sky above them like a secret. Now he found himself stepping onto the Regent Seven Seas Prestige, a vessel of unimaginable luxury, a ship that promised the ultimate escape where every detail was measured to perfection. And nothing could disturb the peace of the elite passengers who paid fortunes to float above the world. The Skyview Suite was his assignment, the pinnacle of luxury, a 40,000 a night sanctuary said to be unrivaled in design and comfort. But the moment he crossed the threshold, a strange sensation settled in the pit of his stomach, a faint whisper of unease that seemed absurd given the elegance surrounding him. The room was vast, with floor-to-ceiling windows stretching across walls, the light of the ocean filling every corner, but something in the reflection seemed off, as if the room observed him and he was under silent examination. Adrian walked across the marble floor, noting the subtle vibrations of the ship beneath his feet, the golden lights reflecting in polished surfaces, creating illusions that shifted when he moved. The furniture was crafted of rare woods and silks that felt almost alive. His eyes caught the flicker of a shadow behind the curtains that did not belong to him or the crew who had shown him the way in. He explored further, discovering small discrepancies, things that luxury should never allow: a clock that ticked backward, a painting whose scenery changed when he turned away, the subtle hum of something electrical that should not exist. The air was warm but carried a scent unfamiliar yet vaguely enticing, as though it remembered someone who had not been there for years. The crew smiled politely when Adrian asked questions about the suite, a little too quickly turning conversations away with practiced ease, their eyes drifting toward the door as if waiting for something to pass, or perhaps waiting for him to leave. Adrian noted a small plaque beside a discreet door in the corner. It bore no label, and yet he felt compelled to open it when he tried the handle. It was locked, but the metal was warm, as though someone had only just touched it. Night fell over the ship, and the moon cast silver paths across the endless waves beyond the glass. Adrian settled into a chaise by the window, sipping champagne, a gift from the concierge. Every sound seemed amplified: the soft creak of wood, the whisper of air from vents. He thought he heard someone moving in the hallway when it should have been empty, but when he turned, the space was still yet not silent. The first signs came as flickers in the mirrors. He swore he saw movement behind himself, a shadow that was not his own, stretching and bending in ways the light could not allow. He checked every corner. The suite was pristine, nothing out of place, yet the sensation persisted. It was as if the room was alive and breathing around him. The photographs he had brought to document the opulence appeared wrong when he looked at them later, blurs and shapes that did not exist in reality. Then came the sound, a slow, deliberate knock from the corner door. He knew it was the corridor, the locked one, yet the sound came from the inside of the wall, as though someone was trying to reach him. He hesitated, every instinct telling him to leave, but curiosity rooted him in place. The knock came again, louder, insistent, and this time followed by a faint whisper: his name. Adrian whispered as though the air itself carried. I searched the suite methodically, discovering small hidden doors behind bookshelves, panels in the walls, and one narrow staircase descending into darkness. He found journal entries from past guests hidden beneath the furniture, detailing similar experiences. Reports of mirrors showing faces that were not there, shadows moving against logic, and sounds without sources. Each entry ended abruptly, some pages torn, others stained with something he could not identify. Hours passed, or perhaps minutes. The perception of time felt wrong in the suite. Every clock and device seemed to lag behind reality. He tried to leave for dinner on the main deck, but found the hallways subtly altered, the doorways not where they should be, and the corridors longer than they appeared. From the suite he returned to the Skyview Suite, exhausted and unsettled, and found the temperature had dropped. The champagne glass had condensation in a pattern that spelled a word he could not understand. Part 1 ends as Adrian stands before the corner door, listening to a third knock, louder than before, and then silence, a silence so profound it pressed against his chest as if the suite itself was holding its breath waiting for him to make the first move to step through or to retreat from. A secret too dangerous to name *. Adrian hesitated before the corner door, the last knock echoing in his chest, a low vibration of sound and anticipation. He could feel the ship moving beneath his feet, the gentle roll of waves that should have been comforting only added to the sense that he was teetering on the edge of something unseen. His hand hovered over the doorknob, warm from the unknown touch. The air seemed heavier, pressing against his skin as if the room itself was alive and breathing. Around him, he opened the door slowly and discovered a narrow corridor just wide enough to move through, a shadowed passage leading beneath the suite into the mechanical heart of the ship, a place that should have been off limits, but something drew him forward. The floor was lined with polished steel panels and pipes hummed with energy that felt alive. The faint glow of emergency lights created long shadows that twisted into shapes that seemed to watch him from every corner. Adrian moved cautiously, following the passage deeper. The air grew warmer, the scent of ozone and metal mixing with something sweet and faintly floral. The corridor opened into a small hidden chamber, a space filled with remnants of someone else's presence, journals scattered across a desk, photos pinned to the walls, diagrams of the suite drawn in painstaking detail, and a collection of personal effects from past guests that should have been forgotten but have been carefully preserved. The room felt suspended in time. Untouched yet alive, he discovered records of a passenger who had vanished years before, a wealthy guest who had reported anomalies in the Skyview Suite, shadows moving independently of light, unexplained reflections in mirrors and whispers carried by the wind. Yet the investigation had been quietly closed, the story erased to protect the prestige of the ship and the price of the suite. Adrian realized he was standing in a space that contained the forgotten histories of those who dared to stay too long. The deeper he explored, the more the suite itself seemed to intrude into reality. The lights dimmed and brightened without warning. The ocean outside appeared closer, as if the water had risen to meet the glass. The reflections in the windows showed images not present in the room, fleeting figures standing behind him in the photographs he had taken. The people in the suite appeared older or younger, depending on the angle, as though the very essence of time was bending within these walls. He finally came face to face with the hidden inhabitant, a former engineer driven into isolation by the suite's effects. A gaunt figure with eyes that burned with knowledge and warning. The man spoke quietly, telling Adrian to leave before the suite's distortions consumed him. A place designed to enhance perception had malfunctioned, creating an endless feedback loop where reality blurred with illusion, and no one could stay long without succumbing to the hypnotic pull of the room. Adrian felt the suite tightening around him, the walls closing ever so slightly, the reflections pressing closer, the shadows thickening with movement. He turned to flee, retracing his steps through the narrow passage, but found it twisting in ways it had not before. The ship beneath him felt larger, smaller, older, younger. Every step was a struggle against the pull of the suite toward the hidden heart, where the engineer waited silently. He emerged into the main suite just as the system reset, a wave of blinding light cascading across the room, windows reflecting nothing but pure brilliance, and a silence so profound it pressed on his ears. He gasped for breath, sitting on the chaise, the champagne long forgotten, the shadows gone, but the sense of being watched still lingering in the corners of his vision. When he finally reached the captain on the main deck, the man nodded quietly, acknowledging Adrian's ordeal without words, hinting that the suite would remain open because the price was too high to close and the allure too irresistible, the secret kept only by those who dared to enter. Leaving Adrian unsure if the danger had truly ended, or if the Skyview Suite would call another guest to test the boundaries of perception. Again, as the ship sailed onward into the open ocean, the lights of the suite glimmered against the dark waves, a beacon of beauty, danger, and mystery. Adrian stared back from the deck, feeling a shiver that was neither fear nor thrill, but an understanding that some luxuries carried a price far greater than money, and some stories were meant to be experienced only once and remembered forever. Adrian looked back at the Skyview Suite, its windows glowing softly against the endless dark waves, knowing some secrets are worth the price, and some luxuries come with a warning. He walked away, but the memory of what he saw lingered in every shadow and every reflection on the ship.